All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Burial Beer Company, and they're headquartered in Asheville, North Carolina, and this is their Shadowclock Pilsner. So this is a Pilsner that comes in at 5% alcohol by volume, 30 IBUs at the time of review, and this can is just under 3 months old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Curtis, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Curtis sent my way. And he sent me 10 beers in total, 9 of which were from Burial, and 4 of those were lagers. And this is the 4th and final lager. In fact, it is the second to last beer from said beer mail. The final beer I have is actually a big pastry stout that I'll get to probably in the next month, but I've reviewed everything else except for this one. And the other 3 lagers, I believe, were all collaborations. This is the only one that is not. So they have a little spiel on the back that I'll read before I crack it open. It says, "Time. Its tale is often lost in the projection of its result. What was once has been cured. What once was has transformed into the new." Trying to confuse me. "And the story of its emergence was paved in untold patience. Our darling lager is the almighty gift of time, made quite simply of Pilsner malt and kindly dry hopped with a touch of noble hops. Never filtered, but lagered onward to pristine clarity, so you can keep your palate clean and revel in your beverage." I feel like Burial is like the new school Stone. Remember Stone used to have like paragraphs upon paragraphs on the back saying a lot of stuff? I feel like Burial is kind of that, but they usually keep it to like 1 paragraph or maybe 2. Very similar though. Anyway, we're going to crack it open as we did, and we're going to give it a nice pour here. It doesn't say German or Czech style. They just say noble hops, and even on their website, they don't specify. They just say Pilsner. So you could probably clarify or classify this one as probably just like an American Pilsner, but it probably takes from both the German and Czech style, I would assume. Anyway, what does that look like? Well, they said crystal or pristine clarity. No. Not pristine clarity, but it has a good clarity. So it has this beautiful, on camera, it definitely looks a little bit more darker and orange than it does in person. In person, it has like this beautiful golden yellow color with hints of orange. Let's see if it looks a little bit different. So yeah, you see, whatever you're seeing through the light here is exactly how it looks to me in person. Not that bright, of course, but kind of like this. Good carbonation, about a finger of a bright white, nice, almost creamy looking head. You could say soap sudsy, but I'd say more creamy than anything. Again, hold it up to a light. Let's see if you can see the shadow of my hand. Yeah, you can even make out my hand a little bit, but I'd say it has a little bit of whether it's chill haze or maybe just some slight murkiness. But yeah, anyway, it looks beautiful. Definitely looks like a Pilsner. Let's get a nose. Beautiful. Has that big grainy, almost like crackery malt. Has like a zesty lemon, or like even an orange, but it has like a zesty citrus kind of nose. A little bit of like a red apple, more like a red apple core. Has a beautiful like spicy herbaceousness with a hint of grassiness from the hops. Touch of the sulfur, lager funk, if you will. Doth the roast, if you will, daddy. It smells nice. It smells like a nice Pilsner. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Curtis. So we talk about price and availability at the end. Let me just tell you that this is a year-round offering from them. Usually the 12 fluid ounce cans are the year-round offering. The other one is their that I've had as far as year-round beers is their Surf Wax. I actually reviewed that as a mystery beer and pretty much nailed it. It was like a West Coast style. I think it's like 6.8 or 7% West Coast IPA, and yeah, that was really nice, and I can see why that's year-round. They'd be like, hey, have it on tap at the brewery all the time, have it in local grocery stores. That's kind of how this one is to me. This is one of those, nice Pilsners. You have this on tap at the brewery all the time. This is very inviting to people who maybe don't drink craft or only like lagers. Be like, hey, here's a nice 5% Pilsner. You'd be like, oh yeah, no, it's step up from your macro lagers of the world. Definitely more flavor, a little bit more bitterness, but also really a good transition beer from something like any of the BMC lagers. Buying this medium, maybe a touch under medium, fine. The mouthfeel, super crisp and clean. This has a very effervescent, spritzy, highly carbonated, like higher side of moderate carbonation. Still smooth on the second half of the palate going down, but the first like half to maybe 2/3 of the palate is just crispy, just spritzy, and it starts out and it kind of dries out on the back of the palate as well. The taste is not overly complex, pretty simplistic, 5% Pilsner. The nose carried over. What I first hits me at the tip of the tongue, usually I'll say like white bread. You hear me say white bread or bready. This one's more like straight on cracker, like a saltine cracker, like what minus the salt, of course, but just like an unsalted saltine cracker. A big crackery vibes from this one from front to back. Underlying always there, it never steps in the way, but it's always it's omnipresent, it's always there. And then I get a lot of zippy, zesty, rindy lemon, orange, maybe even a little bit of grapefruit, but it's more lemon and I'd say orange than anything else. Lemon kind of dominates the other citrus fruits that are perhaps there. That's, again, the first half of the palate. Middle of the palate, touch of that red apple core, and then transitions into this spicy, herbaceous finish with a grassiness involved. This is pretty much, I want to say bone dry, but it's close. It's firmly dry, but it's not straight bone dry. Firmly dry, the mild to moderate bitterness, more approaching moderate. Not overly bitter, very well balanced, just a really nice Pilsner. It's not blowing my mind, but a beer like this isn't meant to be. This is, again, probably like their house lager, you could say, right? Like a beer that they always have available, and I think it's a nice one. No off flavors that I can detect. Good balance between the sweet crackery malt and the hops, the noble hops on the finish, producing that like spicy, herbaceous grassiness. Again, that lager funk a little bit there as well. 5%, you can't tell. Very nice beer. Not losing my shit over it, but I didn't think I would. It's a very well done beer that I think Barrel should be proud of, especially since it's a year-round offering. And this is almost 3 months old and tastes like it's 3 weeks old. Like it still has a freshness to it. It pops. I know like lagers, especially something like this, you can't, like if you had a 3-month-old IPA and compared it to a 3-week-old IPA, probably huge differences. But I feel like this probably hasn't lost all that much. And I think it's really nice. So Shadowclock Pilsner from Barrel. I'm going to give this a low 4.25. I'm going to go 4.15. I think that's a fair score for this. And if you're in and around the Asheville area or you get Barrel distribution, I can't see how you wouldn't enjoy this one based on the fact that I think it's pretty damn good for the style. And again, they don't specify a German or a Czech style, or even they don't even say American, they just say Pilsner. So go into that with an open mind. I think if anything, this leans kind of more to me, the Czech style, only because it has more balance. It's not as bitter and it's not as dry as some of the German offerings. But again, they just say Pilsner, so we'll leave it at that. Price point availability, $13 a 6-pack on their website, so just over $2 a can. I'm fine with that. I prefer to see it more in like the $11, $12 realm, but for $13 is not crazy for a 6-pack. You get 72 fluid ounces for $13. I think it's pretty good. And then availability, like I said, it's Barrel. Wherever you see Barrel, you should see this one since it is one of their year-round offerings. Curtis was nice enough to send it to me. They do also ship straight from their website to a bunch of different states, including New York State. So at some point, I'll probably maybe do another haul of their stuff. Curtis was nice enough to send me 9 beers from them. So at some point, I'll have to get some myself, maybe go in with some local folks and see if they want anything, and we'll split it up evenly. So anyway, huge thanks to Curtis for this one. If you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. Like I said, 5%. You really can't tell. This is lower ABV, lager of some sort. And I think they did a pretty damn good job with it. So thanks to Curtis. Like I said, I'm pretty much done with the box outside of that pastry stout. And once I'm in the mood within the next month or so, I'm going to crack into that one because I think it's bigger ABV. Curtis did say it was a bit sweeter. So whenever I review that one day, I'm going to be in the mood for a sweet nightcap dessert beer, and then I'll drink that one, but I can't say for sure, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, thanks again, Curtis, for all these beers. It's been a fantastic time actually getting to know Burial. Now I've had, about a dozen different offerings from them, and they make awesome beer, plain and simple. So if you're in and around the Asheville area and you have never had any Burial beer, check them out, although they're pretty popular, I know, in North Carolina, so you probably don't need me to tell you that. Also, awesome glass lacing, as per usual. Anyway, I'm shutting this one down. I just blanked. I was going to say, I'm shutting this one down. I said, I'm shutting this one down. I am. Thanks again, Curtis. Thanks, everybody. To the next one. Cheers.